Om. 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 Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om Bolo Sadguru Sivananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Swami Vishnu Devananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning. So we continue with the program of Yamas and Niyamas, which is really such a important topic, as we shared for the last few days. That the yogic path really aims at bringing us to our most wonderful state, most beautiful state. The yogic path really wants to show us who we truly are in our essence. And there is so much pain and suffering we see in our own life and in the lives of people around us. Really, you just open the news and it's enough to get depressed. It's enough to become desperate and to understand how much suffering and pain is there in the world and in our own life. So many traumas, so many hardships, so many betrayals. So really, it's such a amazing blessing for us to be exposed to this yogic path, which shows that there is something beyond. Because many people in this world are not even aware that there is something beyond. For many people in this world, what they see, what they experience, what they are, exposed to, this is all that is. And this is very painful because there is a lot of pain there. There is a lot of suffering. And so we are so lucky and so blessed. And as Swami Shambhudevananda ji said yesterday, our teacher mentioned that we are karmic billionaires to be exposed to this yogic path and to really know that there is something beyond. There is something much higher, and there is a much more elevated goal to this life than just to have a career and a family and to live this very material life. There is something higher, and this higher really leads to the most beautiful state where we experience utmost joy and bliss and light with all the hardships that we see. It's not running away from the reality, but knowing the reality from a deeper point of view, knowing the reality from inside, knowing that there is this hidden love behind all these ups and downs and hardships, but we just need to discover it. It's like, a father playing a game with his kids and hiding, and the kids need to discover where the father is. So in this case, the father or this love is hidden in our own hearts, and we need to discover that. We need to discover that beyond all these world of names and forms and all the ups and downs, there is this one love. There is this one thing that is most adorable, most joyful, most blissful. And the yogis show us the path. The yogis show us the way to discover that, because it's not easy. He's hiding very well, very properly. And so how do we discover that? So there is a path laid down in front of us, and we're trying to tread this path with all the different practices, and it's not an easy path. And the yogis say the more you can build the proper basis for this path, the easier it will be for you, because the basis is what makes the path strong and steady and allow us to go, in a very steady steps. And the basis is the yamas and the niyamas. This is the basis of this path. And the more we go into them, the more we invest into cultivating those qualities to the higher degree in us, the easier it becomes to do the other practices. Because sometimes, people are very excited about meditation and experiences in meditation. Sometimes we see colors in our practice of meditation. Sometimes some nice experience pops up. Sometimes we experience bliss after a yoga class. So these are things that most people are very attracted to. But no one is so much attracted to practice yamas and niyamas. This is like the dirt work of the spiritual path. It's like washing the dishes. It's like, doing all these things that most people don't really want to deal with my own anger, with my own jealousy, with my own depression, with my own irritation. So all these things, we don't really like to work with them. This is like the dirty work, but it needs to be done. And at a certain point, we understand how important it is, and we know any small step we do in this direction of the yamas and the niyamas, the more we can really feel steadier on the path. We feel more supported. We feel like there is this something which is holding us and supporting us and allow us to go higher and deeper. So as we shared, it's like a spiral path, because these yamas and the niyamas, we might feel, oh, yes, I already achieved so much of ahimsa, of non-violence. I'm already so patient towards others. I'm already so nice towards others. I'm already, this and that. But then there is another layer. Then there is another layer, another layer. So when we read those yamas and the niyamas and the different instructions, it's really opportunity for each one of us, even though most of us here already heard about them and are familiar with the definitions, but it's truly an opportunity to check, how deep did I go with this one? Did I really practice to the full extent of this one? And there is always something more to be practiced. So yesterday we shared about ahimsa, and again, this is the Raja Yoga book of Swami Sivananda Maharaj. And as I shared, he organizes the sutras in slightly different way, which is beautiful. And so yesterday we shared about ahimsa, and today we're going to share about satyam, which is truthfulness. And Swamiji takes the 36th verse, which says, speaking truth, when established, leads the yogi to the bestowal of fruits of all actions. So we shared a little bit about it in the first satsang on this topic, and this is the Vaksiddhi, meaning whatever the yogi thinks or whatever he says becomes true. Isn't that amazing? Right? Like right now, for us to manifest anything, we need to work so hard, either earn money or, do some hard work. But for a yogi, truly, for a true yogi, he can manifest. And there is a nice saying which many people know, which is abracadabra. You know this one? Abracadabra is like the kids play, right? Like the kids say abracadabra and then something manifests. And actually, it comes from the Jewish language, Hebrew. And what it means, abracadabra means, abra means I will create, livro. Kadabra means kadvarim sheli, as I say. I will create as I say. And it is said that in the past days, in the other yugas, like the Satya Yuga, all people had this ability. I mean, it was not just something that only the yogis could do. It was just something that everyone could do, because people's minds, people's speech was so pure that every single person could manifest according to what he said, according to what he wanted. This was just part of our own abilities. But it is said that because, especially the speech in these special practice, the speech became contaminated because we started lying, especially in this Kali Yuga, right? The dark age that we're living in. There is so much lying. Not only we live in illusion, which is a whole lie, one lie, like the identification with the body and the mind. Everything is illusory, but it feels so real. But on top of that, even the things that are relatively true are now being subjected to lies. So there is so much lying, there is so much not being accurate, not saying the whole truth, or exaggerating the truth, or undiminishing. So there is so much grace on this path. So because the speech became not truthful, not as it really should be, and because we started using our speech for gossiping, for backbiting, for all those things, we lost this divine quality, this abracadabra, this ability to manifest as we say, as we think. And so in order to regain this ability, and not really, see, the yogis are not really interested in manifesting, because creation is not something the yogis are really interested in. They want to actually go beyond the creation. They want to know the creator. They want to know who is the one behind all these names and forms, because this is who we truly are. This is who is our true nature. So this ability to create is not really something we want to achieve, but it's just a sign on the spiritual path that we achieved a certain degree of purity. And so the practice to achieve it, and this is one of the yamas, is to become truthful. Satyam, Sat. So Sat is the truth. So let's see what Swamiji says about that. Speaking truth is the most important qualification of a yogi. I mean, Swamiji says it on all the qualities, but he says everyone is most important. But here he really emphasizes it. He says speaking truth is the most important qualification of a yogi. And later he will explain why is that. Because the yogi constantly wants to know the truth. The yogi tries to tear the illusion. He wants to break the chains of different attachments and, boundaries. And he tries to know this one freedom, this one truth which is beyond everything. But how do you know the truth if you don't speak the truth? So Swamiji will share in a moment that we can only achieve truth if we practice truth in our speech, in our behavior, etc. So he says, in Hitopadesha, you will find if truth and 1,000 Ashvamedha yagyas are weighted in a balance, truth alone will overweight. So Ashvamedha Yagya, for those of you who don't know, is most important yagya. It's like a huge ceremony, and there is so much things needed for these. And usually it's a horse that is running around the kingdom. There is a whole story. I won't share the whole thing. But anyhow, it's considered to be like the most auspicious and most elaborated yagya. And so Swamiji says, he says in one of the scriptures, it is said that if you have a weight and on one part you put 1,000 Ashvamedha yagyas, just imagine how much is needed for there, and on the other, just truth will overweight. That's how important it is. And Swamiji says in Mahabharata, so he brings many scriptures to support his saying the truth is the most important for the yogi. He says in Mahabharata we find the 4 Vedas on one side, well studied, together with their angas and upa-angas, are far overweighted by truth alone on the other. Such is the importance of truth. So I don't know if you heard about the Vedas are like huge bodies of knowledge. There are 4 Vedas, and each Veda contains so many mantras and so many rituals and so much knowledge. And the end part of the Vedas are the Upanishads, are the scriptures of ultimate knowledge. So Swamiji says in the Mahabharata we find that 4 Vedas, well studied, someone who studied all the Vedas and knows all the Veda Angas. These are like the um, other scriptures which are very much supporting, like the Ayurveda, like Jyotish, etc., and Upa Angas, like another sciences, another scriptures, are far overweighted by truth alone. So again, we see that high philosophy, so much knowledge doesn't even come near to truth, to that which is very, very essential, truthful, which is the seed of all knowledge. God is truth. He can be realized by speaking truth and observing truth in thought, word, and deed. So Swamiji says God, or the self, or the ultimate reality of who we truly are, is truth. And how can we realize that? By speaking truth and observing truth in thought, word, and deed. So you will see that many of those yamas and the niyamas, there is like the superficial level, but then when we go deeper, they need to be practiced on all those levels. Okay, so I didn't lie, but this I didn't lie is not enough for being a practice of truth. It needs to become much more deep. And in a moment, Swamiji will share more, and I would like to share something personal. Speaking truth, many people say, but I don't really lie. Like, I don't see, why is this practice so important? I don't feel like I'm lying. What's the problem? Like, what's the practice really? But many times we're not really accurate with the truth. So if we notice, if we really pay attention, we'll see that our ego is using the different things that happen, the many facts that we see, in a way which will benefit the ego. So sometimes we take a certain fact and we exaggerate it, or we take a certain fact and we miss few points just to benefit our own self. So when we convey to others in our speech, in our communication, it's not the full truth. It might be truth, but it's not the fullest truth. So I remember one time I took in my spiritual diary, like, a task of how many times did I pervert the truth in a certain way. And it's not only in our speech, but also in our own mind. Sometimes we talk to a person and we interpret certain things. We create a whole new illusion inside of the illusion. So the idea is to try and see what is the precise facts, what is the real truth. And Swamiji says the ultimate, if you start practicing that, you will see that the ultimate truth is God, is who you truly are. If you want to really be truthful, this is the most essential true nature, which is existence absolute, bliss absolute, knowledge absolute. So he says truthfulness, equality, self-control, absence of envious emulation, forgiveness, modesty, endurance, absence of jealousy, charity, thoughtfulness, disinterest, philanthropy, self-possession, and unceasing and compassionate harmlessness are the 13 forms of truth. Wow, look how interesting. So truth is not only speaking true, but it's so many other facets. And when Swami Brahmanandaji is teaching about Satyam in the TTC, he usually says, the easiest way to summarize it is that truth must be kind. So it's not enough the truth is true, the truth is conveying facts, but for the truth to be satyam, to be a yogic practice, it must be kind. Meaning, if the person did something wrong, us saying that is not truth, even though the facts are true. But if we hurt the person by saying that, this stopped being truth long ago. So for it to really be truth, it must be also kind. So these are the, Swamiji mentioned the 13 facets of truth for it to be really truth. And you saw, wow, philanthropy, compassionate harmlessness. So behind the truth, there must be a very good motive to say the thing, to convey a certain message. And the message and the motive should never be harm. Because as you remember, ahimsa, what we shared yesterday, is like the pivot of all the other practices. So if satyam stops serving ahimsa, it's not satyam anymore, because all the other practices, they are there to support ahimsa. So every practice must be in place to support the main one, the ahimsa one. Otherwise, we won't reach the goal. Some persons hold that lie that is calculated to bring immense good is regarded as truth. So as we saw in Ahimsa, Swamiji also mentioned that everything in this world is very relative, and you cannot really reach like absolute state of Ahimsa or absolute state of truthfulness. And sometimes you need to see, of course, the motive, and you see what will be the greatest benefit on the spiritual path. So in Ahimsa, we saw that sometimes hurting, like for example, a surgeon, right? He's cutting the person's body, but this is to heal the person. So actually harming the person is for his own benefit. And here Swamiji says that also in a lie, sometimes he says some persons hold that to bring immense good, if we tell a lie, this is truth. Suppose an unrighteous king has ordered a sage to be hanged without any cause. If the life of this sage can be saved by uttering falsehood, the falsehood is only truth. So he says we always need to see the motive behind. And if the motive is ahimsa, if the motive is harmlessness and love, pure love, then it can be regarded as satyam, as truthfulness, even though there might be a lie there, but because the motive is pure, because the motive is ahimsa, it's something else. These are limited by circumstances. According to Sutra 31, these restraints should not be limited by class, time, space, and circumstances if one wants to practice them perfectly. By speaking truth always in all circumstances, the yogi acquires vaksiddhi. Whatever he thinks or speaks turns to be true. He can do anything even by mere thought. So Swamiji says if we want to practice truly, we need to go to Sutra 31, which says all the time, in all circumstances, in all conditions, we need to practice truthfulness. So just to try and bring it to our own lives. Okay. Ooh, I need to stop. Oh, that's it. Oh.